Let's begin with a very simple question. I'm sure you all must have heard it at some point in your lives. Uh, know your past, but don't get stuck in the past. It sounds like a very sound advice, very wise thing to do, but it can also be confusing if not seen in the proper context.
Because on one hand, we are told that India has one of the richest cultural heritage in the world, and this heritage has given a global identity to our nation. And on the other hand, we are told that the future belongs to speed and technology.
So often we see young people struggling between these two voices while growing up. One says, remember where you come from, and the other says, if you don't move fast enough, you'll be left behind.
We grew up learning Indian classical music, an art form which is hundreds of years old. And very early on, we noticed something. Most people see tradition in one of the two ways, either something to romanticize or something to escape from.
Well, tradition for some people is like a museum piece, beautiful, respected, and for some it's like baggage, something heavy, something slow, something that quite doesn't fit in this modern, competitive, efficiency-driven world. So here's how we found that one insight that changed the whole perspective for us. So heritage is something not to be preserved like a fossil. It is something that is to be lived, to be practiced, to be refined, and then passed on.
In Indian classical music, we work with something which is called a raga or rag. And many at times, a raga is misunderstood. It is not a fixed composition, and it is not a memorized composition either. A raga is a framework. A rag gives us boundaries, grammar, discipline.
And in this framework, there is no marks for copying. It's a process where you listen, you process, and then you deliver. And that's something that comes out is totally in alignment with the identity of the piece we began with. But then it's totally unique as well. So this whole creative exercise is at the core of the raga system. So essentially what might seem as a rigid system on the outside is actually fostering creativity and from the inside.
And this is something that most people sometimes tend to miss because people think that tradition is something that hampers innovation. Whereas on the other hand, it encourages innovation because when we move forward on our path, it encourages us to not only move fast, but to stay grounded to our roots.
And we choose what really aligns with us. So the growth that accompanies this process is a very sustainable growth. Sustainable economically, but also culturally and emotionally, because this is the kind of development that will last long. So the one responsibility that comes along with being a young person in a civilization as old as ours is that we are not just inheritors of heritage. We are the authors. We have to define how we process it and in what form do we pass it on. So heritage is something that you can't protect just simply by preserving it.
It can be preserved while practicing. So when the youth stops engaging with tradition, that is the moment it stops evolving. So when the youth is actively involved with tradition, they are refining, they are contributing, they are questioning. That is when tradition stays alive. So if you were to remember three things from today, let them be these three. First, roots give direction, not limitation. Second, mastery creates confidence, and confidence creates freedom.
And third, heritage is simply not preserved by observing, but by participating, especially by the younger generation.
Absolutely. And now we'll let the music speak for itself.
We want to show you what it literally sounds like when the roots are intact, the roots are taken care of, but then innovation is always at the forecenter.
I would just like to introduce for some people who might be new to the classical tradition or to the sarod or sitar. So the sarod is an instrument which has 25 strings, and the sitar has 20 of them. And these 45 strings that we have on stage today are to be kept in tune continuously as we play, and they are tuned differently according to the melody that we are playing. So that is something that is a part of an Indian classical music recital. When we play, the instruments have to be kept in tune, and when we go with the musical dialogue, they have to be in sync with each other. We have chosen to play a very beautiful rag melody for you, which is known as rag Manj Khamaj. It is centered on the fourth note, Madhyam. Usually, the Khamaj rag is very popular, but Manj Khamaj is a beautiful variation of that, which is centered on the fourth note, Madhyam. We'll play a small prelude, Alap, and then there will be a composition in Dadra, rhythmic cycle of 6 beats, followed by a composition in Drut Teen Tal, fast rhythmic cycle of 16 beats. More volume for start. Sitar volume. So that was a glimpse into Indian classical music and how tradition can be maintained while maintaining aesthetics and also keeping in mind the presentation for today's times.
We are very connected with the roots, but we are always improvising, always innovating within the framework. So this is a bit of roots and rise from us.
Thank you.
Thank you.